Sugar. This thing shuts itself off.
Am I going?
Yes, whenever you're ready.
Oh, okay. So I'm going to talk about, the San Bernardino shootings where 14 people were killed and 22 were injured. Basically, the FBI wanted Apple to make an encryption code to gain access into the phone, gather information and evidence. But Apple basically just told them no, that they were going to protect its customers' privacy. They didn't want the encryption code to be stolen and in the hands of hackers. And I'm here to bring up 3 claims on, why the FBI should have been gained access into that. The first one being not being able to gain access is a risk for for the nation and its citizens. Second, legislation needs to be implemented to prevent the situation from arising. And lastly, there is no clear-cut way to solve the solution without giving up some privacy or security, but we can start with what warrants this type of access. So my first point is potential evidence can be held on these devices. So Nelson Granados from Forbes magazine writes that in an interview with 60 Minutes, Francois Mollin, the chief prosecutor of the Paris terrorist attackers who killed 130 people, he said that with all these encryption software programs, we can't penetrate into certain conversations and we're dealing with a gigantic black hole. Then in reference to an encrypted iPhone belonging to one of the Paris terrorists, he adds, we really need to be able to get into that phone. I say, all these smartphones make justice blind because they deprive us of a lot of information that could contribute to our investigations. Secondly, this disables counterterrorism. Brian Mastroianni from CBS News writes that the FBI director says it affects our counterterrorism work. San Bernardino, a very important investigation to us. We still have those killers' phones that we've not been able to open, and it's been over 2 months, and we're still working on it. Moving on, that this could lead to criminals keeping information that we can't get. So Nelson Granados again, from Forbes magazine, writes that an act of non-compliance would likely lead future terrorists to use an iPhone, and not a 5C, but a newer model that has tighter security and use a longer password, so it's more difficult to brute force. Moving on to legislation needs to be implemented to prevent the situation from arising. First, technology is advancing faster than we can keep up. Vivek Wada from the Washington Post writes that today technology is progressing at an exponential curve. Advances that would take decades now happen in years, sometimes months. It goes on to say that a greater privacy risk are all the cameras and sensors we have. Cameras in malls, roads, office buildings, TVs and self-driving cars will be watching us, keeping logs of where we've been and whom we went to see. These technologies have a major security risk and are largely unregulated. Each has its own nuances and will require different policy considerations. Moving on to current laws are out of date. James Admiral and David Weinstein from the Huffington Post write that law enforcement officers want to do their jobs as they see it, gathering evidence to support their investigations and prosecuting criminals and terrorists. The law gives them this authority, but in the digital age, the encryption prevents them from accessing data on media that until now was readily available for a jury to consider. And lastly, moving on to companies like Apple have helped in getting evidence before. So Matthew Panzerino from TechCrunch, who is writing in the side of Apple against the FBI getting access, so against everything I'm thinking, he writes that Apple actually has the capability to extract data, including contacts, phones, calls, and iMessages without unlocking the phone. That last bit is key because in the previous cases where Apple has complied with legitimate government requests for information, this is the method it has used. It has not unlocked these phones. It has extracted data that was accessible while they were still locked. So the only difference is one phone is being locked and one phone is being unlocked, but they still get the same information that they would if it was locked. So moving on, that FBI isn't interested in other people's devices, just the ones that terrorists have. So Dan Verdon from Mary Talk writes that this case is not about the FBI testing the limits of its surveillance powers and trying to establish a precedent for strong arming companies into creating so-called backdoors to encryption and other security protections. It's about our ability as a society to provide the common defense against real enemies of safety and security. And he goes on to write about that it's not about an NSA member trying to read people's emails. And so for the last game, that there isn't a clear-cut way to solve the issue without giving us some privacy or security, but what really access, or what should warrant this type of access. Again, from Nelson Granados from Forbes, that this should be left in the hands of the American people and not companies or the agencies or agencies. And he writes that a recent poll by the Pew Research shows that 51% of those surveyed support unlocking the iPhone, while 38% are against it. So it shows that the American people are kind of behind unlocking and getting access to the phone, even though, understanding the risk that it could provide. Secondly, allowing companies like Apple to be the only ones to obtain the software and keep the information silent. Paul Sperry writes that, from Investors Business Daily, writes that the FBI in court briefings say that Apple can keep the software code via to override the security system on the iPhone 5C and destroy it after the phone is locked. And he goes on to say that it also states that the work on the phone will be conducted at an Apple facility and that the software never has to come into the government's custody. And lastly, that a third party did solve it and no problems arose after getting the information through the phone. So Danny Yardon from The Guardian writes that the FBI has since offered details about the hacking tool, and he writes that it was from outside the government. They did pay over $1 million to get this tool, and it only works on the iPhone 5C, so not any newer models or older models or Androids. So with these three claims, I hope you guys understand why the FBI should be gaining access to phones like this, especially in today's day and age where everything's on technology, and why if we don't, make a step towards gaining access to these phones where criminals can have information on it, or it could lead to a problem.